Doop, doop. There we are. How is? We are back. It is unfortunate I could not film inside the lodge, but the fact of the matter was, while I tried, I had two choices. One, be in the actual pub itself, where there's tons of people moving back and forth, or two, be outside in the freezing cold in the smoking area. And in the summertime, or spring, or any other time it's not freezing, that's fine, but feck that shite. Feck it. Royally. So I'm hearing Carthy's again. I am not going to be streaming here long. Probably have maybe 2 here at the most, and then pop back. Also, Rose Black, if you see this, I do apologize. I really did hit your thing by accident. So as a sorry, you're now a mod. I kind of frantically just started hitting buttons like crazy, so you're a mod now. Yay! Yeah, so gist of tonight is still the same. Ain't got much time before my stream begins. It is going to be hopefully a fun time in the not sunshine, unfortunately. Sneeze. Ooh. I got everything I needed in the shop though, and Metal Monkey's feeling okay. He's his stomach's really just his problem right now. Who knows? The shop was way too expensive. Super Value is not worth the coin I paid for. But it's paid for. No. And everything else is sorted. Still fuck Super Value. God, look at the shine on my skull there. Ugh. So, Daggerfall, I'm actually going to need some help from some people tonight, that's for sure. I'm going to have to get someone to basically show me how to basically progress, at least at the start. That's going to be a big help. And second, I'm going to need patience from y'all, because the most primitive Elder Scrolls game I really came through. What the fuck? Outlaw Gaming in the house. I actually wondered where you went off to. Haven't seen you in chat in a while. Hope you've been doing well. But yeah, I'm gonna basically just need people to be patient, because it's kind of a new game. The most primitive game I played prior in the series was Morrowind, which I will also be playing tonight. I will be playing Daggerfall, Morrowind, and Oblivion over the course of about 6 hours. And what I am doing, to answer your question there, Lunatic, is, like the title said, Drinkin Drinkin. Wow, if what you just said was true, that is far more interesting than whatever the hell I'm doing. And also horrible. I do apologize if that is exactly what happened, and I don't see more, like, Jesus, what? I just have no impact. I mean, are you alright? Are you okay? I can ask that at least. Doing everything with one hand. One hand plus five. There we are. Mm. Yeah. That'll tend to do it, man. That'll tend to do it. Of course, context is key. But, in all fairness, you didn't need to go to jail to figure that shit out. I can. I can indeed. I am gonna probably have one more after this. At the very least, this next chug is for you. Horrible, horrible beer. Oh shit, man. Okay. You take care. Thanks for popping in. If you can, you know where to find me over the next 6 hours. At least one of you bums showed up. You see him, he's loyal. But anyway, yeah, the rest of the evening is going to be progressively more and more ridiculous and Bethesda based. So Bethesda-less, I suppose. And yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be as fun as it was last week, where I know I kind of played around with different games and shit, but it should still be fun. Um, as for tomorrow, what I'm thinking is that I'm going to be a bit hungover, and I'm either going to have hair of the dog with some of the stuff I got today, or I'm just going to not be in the mood. So I want to get that review out of the way for what's the name? The Kurt Russell one. Which should be, it should be at the very least a bit of a laugh. Oh yeah, for Americans across the world, I give you Tato, the ultimate crisp, unless you like King or Walker or any other crisp on the planet. But I want to put one thing into perspective. See this motherfucker here? Mr. Tato is so beloved that there is indeed a theme park dedicated to him. That's American level of respect. Seriously, Google Tato Land. You'll see a pretty average park. But I mean, it's dedicated Imagine the what's his name? Cheesy's Cheetos. Uh, that guy from Cheetos, the cheetah from Cheetos. Um, Imagine if he had a theme park, and I know Hersheyland exists, but Hershey's a very big company. No, I'm actually surprised. I'm actually very surprised. Coca-Cola doesn't have a theme park. Tell me in the comments. If it does. But yeah, I'll wrap this up in a little bit, unless chat starts to happen. I always feel like sometimes when I'm wearing the baseball caps that I look like someone who's about to go on a sort of bayou excursion with a 12 gauge hunting alligators or some shit like that, especially when I have it like this. Well, what you got over there? Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. That's not too much like Pimp Monk there. Yeah, it should be a fun night tonight. There. You did. I do apologize. That was all my fuck up, my royal fuck up. I'm glad to see you do not hit my guts now. In fact, you came out better because you're now a mod. Um, I hope you enjoy the title. You do. Which also means we no longer have mod openings. All mods are closed. You are now the last mod. I now have 5 mods, and that's all I need. Anyone else who wants mod power, well, they have to wait until one of the other mods does a royal fuck up. Or until I become so massively mighty that I need more than 5. I wonder which will happen first. But yeah, I do apologize for that. I kind of fucked that shit up. What I wanted to do was I wanted to put the phone down, like just get another pint. I think that's what I told you, and then I hit your icon, and as I hit your icon, the choices came up, and it came up over my thumb. So at the same time, I hit your icon. I also hit what looks like, I think, block of some kind. So yeah, my bad. Felt like a jackass. It would drive a man to drink if I wasn't already a pretty heavy alcoholic. Mm. Takes a lot less time to get through. Oh, God, yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's light reading. All of Terry Pratchett's shit is light reading. All of it. Except for Flatland. Flatland was when he tried to make it really serious. Still fun. The whole thing about Terry Pratchett is that he's fun. You must have noticed that by now. It's all tongue in cheek, it's all innuendo, it's all references. He is a very fun author. So that makes him a very easy author to get through. So you will get through his book fairly quickly. And I hope this will be the first of many of his other books to get through. He's not Raymond E. Feist or Robert Jordan or Tolkien or George R. R. Martin or any of them. He's Terry Pratchett. He's the type of shit you can read over the course of 2 days. Hell, you can read it in 1 day if you have literally nothing else to do. Oh no, that was not. No, what you just described there was an Englishman, but it was not the Terry Pratchett. Terry Pratchett is Bill Bailey. If you ever want to, if you don't know who Bill Bailey is, just type in Bill Bailey, British comedian. He's very country, hobbit. He's a hobbit. Bill Bailey was a hobbit. Yeah, Bill Bailey is a hobbit, but Terry Pratchett is more of a hobbit. Um, your style, it will be your own, whether it's a success or a failure, a niche or a world thing, or just something for yourself and a few choice friends. But you'll make it your own. One thing I loved he always said was just if you whenever you need to practice, just practice. It doesn't need to see the light of day. Just type. Just type away. And then afterwards delete. Doesn't matter. So, Mom. Mom. I'm in chat. Never. That's a chunk of change of memory, isn't it? That's probably not even counting the radio play of Conan the Conan the Barbarian, which I fucking love Conan. The greatest barbarian of all time. Too bad he's 98. He appears in The Color of Magic. I fucking and the guy who plays him is just brilliant at it. Like he's just this straggly ass motherfucker in like this loincloth with one eye. And he no longer has any teeth, so he can't eat raw meat, and he has to have soup all the time. But he's so powerful and strong that like a troll attacks him, and he just kind of. In fact, a troll attacks him, and he's like, "Wait a minute, didn't I beat up your grandfather?" And the troll stops, and they have this conversation. They have this sort of laugh over it, and they don't fight because he's so old and he's so wise that he's just past the point where he needs to fight, but when he does fight, he'll just destroy reality itself. I fucking love. Terry was such a brilliant author. Oh, well, it just kind of spoiled that for you. Sorry about that. It's hard not to gush. I'll save my gushes for people like Jess, who've actually read the shit. But don't worry, that was a deep well. I might have spoiled a fraction of it for you. You have, if it hooks you in, you have so much more to discover. Not all of it's good, mind. Not all of it's good. Some of the, some of his stuff is not the best. Not the worst either. I've never actively hated or disliked any of his books. Most have thought them, meh. There's only about two meh, and well, you just downloaded a bunch of um, his stuff, so you know how much he's done. I suppose Flat World. I wasn't a big fan of Flat World. I didn't like the world. I didn't like the character. I didn't like the themes. Reminded a little bit too much of Earthsea. There's a series, a very intriguing series by Ursula K. Le Guin. The guy who did Howl's Moving Castle, Miyazaki, he did the animated version of that, Earthsea. Mm. Very pretty, terrible show. And I liked Earthsea as a book series, but I didn't like it animated. Um, Once again, what's the simplest yet effective design you've seen for a character? For example, giving a character sharp teeth, different eyes, but hold on. That's not a design. It's a characteristic. A design of a character is based off their environment, which of course is based and then off their backstory. For example, take a generic vampire, right? Say Dracula. Well, he looks the part because he's a count, because he is royalty, so he looks the finest. He has the finest outfits. But then you look pointed ears. Why? Well, because historically, all evil things have pointed ears, as well as mythical things like elves. And he's got sharpened teeth. Okay, yeah, but that's not what Dracula is. If anything, I think Dracula is the pose, sort of, you know. But that doesn't define the character. None of these things define the character. Um, I kind of meant, which of these features do you find the most intimidating? Intimidate. Again, the features aren't intimidating. It's the character themselves. It's how they act. Like, Fist of the North Star, the anime. He's a big burly motherfucker who looks like someone out of the Road Warrior. Okay, but there's like 50,000 other big burly motherfuckers that are out of the Road Warrior. It's how he talks and what he does. He says very little and he does a lot. That is intimidating. You know, like, he tells you to walk away and you're like, huh, you don't look all that tough. And then he beats the living. He slams you like 5 times across the chest, and then says you're already dead, and then your heart explodes. That's intimidating. Not for the guy who got his heart exploded, but for every other person around him. Because a message has been sent. You know, you can talk all you want, but it's about what you do with it. You can have the most bland looking motherfucker in the room, but oh yeah, yeah, that's yeah. You never saw Fist and North Star? Like, it is his signature move. He rapid punches his enemy's chest in a sort of Jackie Chan sort of wah, sort of way, and then says, "You are already dead." And then the guy's like, "Huh, whatever, man. I'm gonna," and then like blood starts coming out of his mouth, and he's like, and then he like blood spews out of every orifice, and the guy dies. And the guy from the Fist of North Star just kind of stares at him, says a one-liner like "pathetic," and walks off. That's that's intimidation. But that's just one type of intimidation. You could have the opposite, which is like say Heath Ledger's Joker. He's all about words and deeds. He's this psychopath standing on top of a burning building, laughing hysterically. You know, there's different things. So I always think like what they do with it. The look doesn't matter. The look comes after. That's how I see it anyway. Beerific. I think they'll have music here on New Year's. And if that's the case, then I will probably be here. I'm thinking this year I actually might spend it either 50% here, 50% in the lodge, or just solely up in the lodge. Or even up in Bellbridge if I'm up for the walk. Though Battlebridge will be chaotic if they do have something special planned for New Year's. Guarantee it. Here will be too. I think I spent one New Year's here, and it was just bedlam. It was great, but I don't know. Do you think it's cheap for writers to use characters from other mythology in their stories instead of making original characters? No. It's what you do with it. Look, originality is not overrated, but it's often considered a little bit on the priority side. You don't need to be. For example, look at Star Wars. Star Wars is not original when you break it down. It has factors from tons of different things, characters from tons of different things. Not by name, but just by what they do. Inspiration here, there. The Simpsons did it. Logic. And you can have some great stories. For example, I consider the remake of True Grit, the Western movie that originally starred John Wayne. The remake with Jeff Bridges, I consider it to be the better version of that story. It's how you implement them is that matters. Um, if you have, for example, Zeus show up and it's a new take on Zeus, or maybe an angle from Zeus that you've never seen before, well, good. Like, that's an intriguing, you could say that's an intriguing idea. Maybe not in and of itself, but it's just the basis. It's what you do with it afterwards. You have, say, Neptune coming out of the sea saying that I demand sacrifice and points to this person. Okay, well, a lot of people since the beginning of, Greek literature have said that. But what happens if, for example, one of your characters, a character you haven't even mentioned before, comes out and brings out a jar, and suddenly Neptune is pulled into the jar, and then he becomes mortal, and he gets to watch as all the oceans go absolutely insane without him to control it, because I assume that's the main purpose of people like that. Um, Zeus, the cruise ship, huh? You see right there? I wouldn't have thought of that, cruise ship. Because yeah. You see, just try different things. I mean, nothing is written in stone. And if it is written in stone, so what? That's just an ineffective way of getting your point across. Um, the only things that are important is the message of your story, is the character's relationship to that message. Why should I care if Bran gets over the wall or back over the wall? Well, since the first book, I've been invested in him because he's this precocious child who loses his legs, and it helps trigger one of the biggest wars in the realms, and he then starts having visions, and it's a character I can follow. The character matters more. That's not to say that you can't have a book without characters. You can have a book without characters. That's, however, not really a narrative. That's more of a philosophy at that point. No, no, you don't need to break the stone. The stone will warp to your wills. That's the key thing. Everything will warp to your will. That's actually what you said. That reminds me of what Dr. Draken said in Kim Possible. Someone gave him what was it? When life gives you lemons, he cuts them off by saying, "I yell at the damn lemons." Are remaking that motherfucker? I'm not cool with that. Mostly because the person they got to play Shigo is not hot enough. Hashtag Shigo not hot enough. Everyone has their first crush, and she was mine. I want. I'll be back in a second. I've got to use the facilities. It's not even cold, it's just my nose. Not like something right now. Allergy, no? I think so, but it's been like this for the past few days. Unless there's something maybe I'm wearing that's putting me off. Maybe it's got a stuffed nose. Achoo, y'all. Achoo. Looks like a bunch of stars, isn't it? Right, so I'm probably going to wrap this up now. I don't have much time left before I start streaming, so say about 45 minutes to half an hour. I've finished a pint though, that's the only. Actually, maybe. Maybe I might stick around, at least until I'm halfway through this damn thing. My nose is absolutely hating me right now though. I hope you enjoyed the background noise of beautiful, beautiful Irish news. Behind the telly there, you can't see it. Behind the telly's behind the tree. That's how you say it, by the way. It's not the Garda, it's the Gardaí. Kieran, a few events have taken place today. What is the latest? Guardian County Roscommon saying it's been a day of significant progress in their investigation into criminal damage and the assault of those 8 security guards in the early hours of Sunday morning last. 2 in custody still tonight. One in his 50s, one in his 60s. Both said to be from North. Much longer before the stream. But a pint is a pint. Oh yeah, I love this. This episode of Law Ninja Videos is sponsored by The Simpsons. Oh no. If the plot is going to be one book, like it's not built over a season, like a series of books, I recommend what you do is you spread it out naturally, usually at the start of a chapter. But it has, those information you tell them has to relate to what's happening in the story of the characters. A good example of this would be, say for example, in Game of Thrones, well, World of Ice and Fire, you learn a lot of stuff in the first book, but it doesn't overload you because it's spread out. You spread that shit out, and you only spread out the shit that you need to spread out, either in dialogue, which sounds natural. Like, no one stops in the middle of a conversation to go like, oh, of course, in the 1800s, America fought a civil war over the rights of slavery. That's why I'm not a big fan of this black person sitting next to me. Like, these people would already know this fact. As for the detail of a room, well, or like a situation you find in, if it's a big, like, say, arena, for example, yeah, describe it. Um, but describe it in a natural sense. Say, for example, they're going into a building that there's a big event going on at, say, a fight or a gig or whatever, a speech. Have like someone to meet them and describe the building to them, but do it in a way that would be kind of quick. You don't need to know, for example, how many people needed to build it, or like, what sort of lighting they used. I know people who've done that. I know people who have um, a woman I know she wanted me for a bit of feedback. I was like, yeah, sure, great. And she talked about this room in this place in New Orleans. And halfway through reading it, I just stopped and said, like, hold on. Why did you go on about this room for so long that they have this conversation in? And she said, because the room was lovely. I'm like, but that doesn't, that's not important. Like, the idea is that you're meant to awe someone. You don't need that many words to awe someone. You just have to give across the idea of it. Especially because the place never appears again, and it only exists for a very short amount of time. Um, and she generally appreciated it, and I read the final product, and it omitted that extra part. The part was cut down substantially. How do you feel about romance being hinted at between characters? Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I think characters are already into. I think a characters are already going to be a couple. Just introduce them. Yes, I am not a fan of the falling. Well, the falling in love mechanic works if that's what you want. For example, the budding romance. But you don't ever get to see enough of just the romance. There is one glaring example to this, exemption to this, sorry, and it is Fargo, the movie with Steve Buscemi. Fargo is one of the most impressive examples of a relationship in a movie because the cop and her husband, they're already well established. You can tell that they're just a working relationship. They don't need a single bit of backstory or sort of awkward kismet. What is it, kiss meet or something like that? They don't need that shit. They know who they are. They've been knowing who they are probably longer than you've been alive. you know? That I like. But there is time and place, for example, for relationships to blossom. But it shouldn't be, for example, it can actually be hidden. For example, they could be in a relationship with another person. Their culture or religion could be against it. Um, they might not be the type of person to just come up and say it. Maybe they have gotten some wrong ideas, like they think that the person who they fancies someone else, and they're not so self aware or self respecting enough to um, um, like follow through with it. So they kind of back down. Now there's tons of reasons for it. Even distance. I mean, if you're in an era before, say, mobile phones, you're not going to be able to have a much of a conversation with someone. So they go over there, and well, they've been over there for 5 years. It's time to move on, don't you think? And Ron and Ronnie got together in the end of the Deadly Hollows. Kind of came out and left for me. No, it didn't come out and left for me, but I'll put it to you like this. Even, even, oh, what's her name? not Tolkien. Martin. The one who Rowling. Um, even she said um, she admits that in reality it wouldn't have happened. That Ron and Hermione, if anything, Hermione would have gotten with Harry. And that's how I always thought it. I always thought that it made more sense that if she got with anyone, it would be Hermione, or it would be another person that, has nothing to do with any of this. Because there's a bigger world out there. You don't have to be introduced to every single person's significant other. Which, oddly enough, she knew with Gandalf. Because Gandalf had a lover, a male lover at that. But we never got to see him. We never heard anything about him. At the very end of Deathly Hallows, you could have had Hermione show up, and it would just be this random dude that she's with, or hell, random girl. Doesn't particularly matter. But yeah, Rowling admitted that it was just her sort of like, they need to be together forever. No, no. Fuck Ron. Fuck Ron hard. In the movies, terrible. In the books, annoying. Anyway, I've been rambling long enough now, and I do have to get back home. Take one more swig out of this. One final question from yourself, Rose. If you've got one lined up, anyway. You wouldn't think, it's so cold out there, you wouldn't think I'd be perfectly eager to drink an ice cold drink like a beer. No, Brexit, you ruin everything. Keeping these for the stream. Alright. Enough jibber jabber. I'll see you all later. Not too long from now, actually. So, yeah. If anyone who watches this in the future is not already, please consider subscribing. At least a thumbs up would be nice. That's one of these. If not, one of these works just as well. But, yeah, I'm out of here. I am out of here. So I hope to see you all again. Half an hour? 45 minutes? So see you. Bye.